Hey everybody, it's Fabrizio Aiello, creator of Horace H. Hoover, and today I want to talk a little bit about inspiration. The title of the video is Stealing Inspiration. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is oftentimes people will immediately go to what's most readily available to them for inspiration. So say for example, I liked Indiana Jones. I'm going to pick a few pieces of Indiana Jones, maybe some clothing, maybe the time period, maybe some of the character archetypes, and then I would use that to essentially create a pastiche of Indiana Jones, and that's quote-unquote my Indiana Jones. And in the end, you end up getting a lot of fan fiction. You get a lot of superficial theft of a particular type of story. But if you really want to do your Indiana Jones, you should actually go back further. So steal from the inspiration that created Indiana Jones. Go back to the pulps. Read Doc Savage. Read Flash Gordon. Read The Shadow. Read all of the things that inspired Lucas to sit down and actually write Indiana Jones. And the reason you do that is because if there are 5 million people that are watching the new Star Wars, then you have to compete with 5 million people that are probably going to come up with similar concepts that you are. You're treading on the same territory, you're looking at the same stuff. So if you just remove one step back and start stealing, quote unquote, from their inspiration, if you start stealing from Lucas's inspiration, it immediately gives you an edge. So now maybe only 100,000 people are sort of mining the old pulps for new story ideas and characters. And if you want, go back further. Maybe some classic American lit. We're talking Washington Irving, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Ambrose Bierce. Go back as far as you can to get inspiration, because then maybe it's only 10,000 people or 1,000 people that are mining those old pieces of literature for inspiration. You're far less likely to come up with the same concepts and characters and dialogue, that you're far less likely to tread on the same ground. So that's one way to approach it. So steal from the inspiration of the things that you like. The next thing to steal from is everything that you like. And by that, I don't mean stories or movies. I mean more intangible things. If you walk into a bed and breakfast and you just love the atmosphere to it, take a look around. Is it the architecture? Is it the paintings on the wall? Is it the furniture? Is it the light coming through the window? Those sort of things can really inform a story. So steal from very intangible day-to-day things. Is there a particular color palette whenever you walk into a house that creeps you out? Use that. Don't see what Stephen King did or some other horror writer or movie director and just slightly change what they did. Really kind of figure out what inspired them or could potentially inspire them. A good example of that is H.P. Lovecraft. He loved architecture, and it is in every one of his stories. The gambrel roofs, the sagging architecture, he really gets into the architecture aspect of it. And that really sets him apart from a bunch of other writers. I can't think of a Stephen King story or part that he really talks about architecture at all. The next thing you can quote unquote steal from is yourself. So once you have a story, maybe it's an issue of a comic book, maybe it's a short story, maybe it's a character, you can mine your own stories for seeds for future stories. So if you come up with a character, maybe they're very limited in a particular short story, but just come back to it, flesh it out. Maybe you drew something about this character, a type of watch, a type of gun that they're using that is different than other kinds of guns. Now you have something to play with in the future, so you can actually steal from yourself by mining your own work. Those little details then can springboard a new story, and the added benefit of that is because now you have consistency and continuity between all of your stories, because you're pulling from yourself and you're expanding upon it. In particular for Horace H. Hoover, I already feel like I have quite a bit to pull from. Lots of worlds, lots of characters, symbols, books, things I purposely planted seeds for that will be entire new arcs that will have future storytelling power because I added it early. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions, like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Bye.